Hello. Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. It's a great pleasure really for me to be here with you, and I'm sorry I can't speak in Spanish. I'm sorry, but I'll try my best in English, right? So I want to talk with you about the topic of this conference. I think it's exactly the right one. What kind of humanity do we want to be? What kind of humanity can we become? You know, I think if we ask ourselves, how is our life, right? How are we doing as human beings? I think the most important thing is maybe not what do we have, how much do we own or so, but where are we going? It's so important for us as human beings to have a sense of where we are going to, where we are moving towards, right? And I think in the 21st century, right now, it's very obvious that we cannot do this individually or as on a national level, because our fate, our society, right, is kind of globally connected. When you think of the problems we are facing, right, for example, the ecological crisis, it's a part of humanity in a global sense, right? And that's also true even for financial markets. They are globally interconnected, and the media systems and of course global inequality is a consequence of the global economic system. So I think the topic of this conference is exactly right. Where do we want to be as the human species, right? Where do we want to go? Of course, people give different answers, and therefore we need forum where we can discuss this, and that's this conference. And what I want to, or this congress, so what I want to do today in the time I have is kind of coming up with two tales of who we are, two narrations, you could say, right? I think we need kind of narrations of where we want to go and who we are. So my first tale is to say, well, I think the global system we live in right now is defined by a certain idea, right? Namely the idea that we can make the world, if you so like, available and attainable and accessible. So I think our modern society, to a significant extent, is defined by the idea that we can gain control over life. Right? I think that's a bit what modernity has promised us, right? And modernity as a kind of global system, and part of this system is, for example, science. Science is promising that we can expand the horizon of what we can see with the telescopes, for example, and with the microscopes, but also of what we can know, of course, right? And also of where we can go to, like to Mars and the Moon, but also and then of course it's connected to technology, which allows us, like transport, through communication and so on, to get access to more and more parts and possibilities of the world. We have permanently increased the horizon of what we can bring under our control. Right? For example, we have come to control nature, but you have also come to control your environment. Right? In a place like this, for example, it's we who control, human beings, how bright it is, bright light or dark night, how warm it is, it's warm, it's cold, whether there is a lot of noise, it's loud or it's soft. So we control our world, and we try to, at least. That's tale number one. Who are we as humanity? In the 21st century, we are a species roaming the earth who tries to gain complete, as complete as possible, control over the world and its possibilities, right? So we want to go places, we want to listen to all forms of music, we want to see all the movies that are there, we want to improve our knowledge and so on. Bringing the world under control means making everything visible which is there, making everything accessible, then trying to control everything and putting it to our use. And also the economic system is part of this, because the economy is creating the wealth for us as individuals, but also for our nation states, right, that make things possible, increasing the horizon of what we can have. And in fact, the global capital system, the system of capitalism and the logic of capital, is a logic that actually forces us to this kind of logic, to this kind of being in the world, right? You see here my definition in tail number 1. What is a modern society? What's the society we live in? It's a society that is that necessarily needs to achieve material growth, technological acceleration, and cultural innovation, simply to stay where we are. You see this in Chile, as you see it in Europe and everywhere else in China. Year by year, we have to produce growth, speed up, come up with innovations to simply maintain what we have. Our companies, our schools, our pension schemes, our healthcare systems, and so on, in order to stay where we are as a society and as individuals. Each year, we have to run faster and faster. Now, unfortunately, this is quite problematic, right? My claim really is that this leads to a situation where we actually, it's an energy problem. That's my new take on the situation we are in. We have to invest more and more energies to reproduce the world we live in, to maintain it, right? More physical energies. In Chile, you have a lot of extractive industries where you can see year by year we have to take more from the earth, if you so like. We need to come up with more energy. It could be fossil energies or nuclear energies or even solar energies and raw materials. Year by year, to achieve growth, we have to invest more of it, but we also have to invest more and more psychic energies and political energies, right? You feel this a lot, I think, also in Santiago, in this city, right? It seems like there's an overheating in a certain way, right? We are overheating the atmosphere, but we are also overheating, if you so like, we are burning out our souls, right? And actually, I think there's a kind of overheating in the political system too, where you see, in the US we could see it, but we could see it in Europe and everywhere, also in Chile. There seems to be a lot of aggression, right? So my claim really is that the system, that this logic of dynamic stabilization forces us to be in a mode of aggression towards the world. We are in aggression towards nature. You see it with extractive industries. On the one hand, we have to get more and more out, take it out of the world, but we also kind of pollute the atmosphere, you know this. But we are also in aggression towards other people because, we already have to work as hard as we can. We have to run as fast as it's possible. So people who have a different opinion, different ideas, different form of lives are always obstacles or competitors. So in politics, as in war, which is coming back, right? There is increasing aggression on the social level. But what I find most interesting is that there's even aggression on the individual level. People in Europe, in Northern America, in Latin America, in Chile, but also in Korea, India, China, they live in aggression towards themselves. You can see this from social data. We are dissatisfied with our bodies. I want my body to be different, right? I want my psyche to be different. I want to be faster, slimmer, better, and so on. And this creates new sorts of health issues, even the kind of eating disorders, but also autoimmune deficiencies. I found this a very interesting symptom. It's doctors who told me that, right? But it creates also a lot of burnout, right? So my claim is actually when you look at the energy balance of modern society, the thing is we need to kind of invest more and more energies which create overheating of the atmosphere and the soul and exhaustion. We are exhausting earth and nature, and we are exhausting ourselves. And what is missing is a different form of energy, right? I call it now circulating social energy, where you all of a sudden feel alive, right? So I think what we need is a different tale. Where can we be? What can we be as human beings? How could it be different? Let me make this one more point when I talk about burnout, right? I think what is important is that this tale number 1, we are the human beings who try to control their world, right? Make more and more of the world available. It doesn't work, right? For a number of reasons. Now, reason number 1 is that the world actually is not becoming controllable. It's becoming uncontrollable. I claim we create monsters of uncontrollability, like climate crisis, nuclear disasters, even COVID. COVID was a monster of uncontrollability. All of a sudden, something propped up, which we didn't know. We didn't have scientific knowledge, no medicine to cure it. We couldn't even see it or feel it. It came behind our backs. So now the war is coming back, the plague is coming back, epidemics are coming back, if you so like. The financial markets have become has become a monster of uncontrollability. So we can't control the world. But what is worse, we have lost this sense of moving forward, right? This attempt to make more and more of the world available, attainable, accessible, it came with the promise that the kids will have a better life. You remember I said in the beginning, if you want to know how life is in Chile today, right? Don't ask what do you have, ask where are you going. And you can really see all over the world, people are happy, parents are happy when they say, even when they say, we don't have much, we work hard, but our kids will have a better life. This gives us a sense of moving forwards towards a world which is pacified existence, as Herbert Marcuse says, towards a better world, right? And we have completely lost this sense. You know now, in global surveys, 70% of parents said, we work as hard as possible, not for our kids to have a better life, but to not have a completely bad life, right? So my claim is, this tale number one, it was subversion, the global project, globalization, capitalism has lived on, is probably coming to an end, right? Because of overheating and exhaustion. So of course you ask, so how could it be different, right? What's the opposite, right? So let me now quickly turn to tale number two. And the question I have to answer is, what is a non-alienated way of being in the world? And a different concept of energy, you could say, right? What is the opposite of alienation? How could we define a good life if it's not the increase of our horizon of availability? And I think there we can draw on non-European concepts like buen vivir, but actually even on Chinese and Indian and Japanese and African conceptions of life and the power and the energy of life. And my own attempt was, I tried to come up with a different vision, and that's what I want to tell you in the remaining 5 minutes. A different world, not a world which we dominate and control, but a world we are in resonance with. So what I've tried to do as a philosopher for the last couple of years is to say, what is a non-alienated form of being in the world? And my answer is, it's not a world which I have in control, but you could say it's a world I'm listening to and I'm answering. It's a different form. It's actually an energetic form of being in the world of a different sort. Now, what is resonance? I think you come to a congress like this, Congreso Futuro, right? With a hope that something here might speak to you, right? Maybe you listen to many talks and you really hope that there will be this one idea. Maybe it's not on stage, maybe it's somewhere on the book stands or when you get a coffee or so, that there is one thing that speaks to you, that touches you, right? That moves you, right? And it's great, of course, if it comes up in interaction, right? So resonance, the first element of resonance is something touches me, it speaks to me, right? And it's not something I want to control, I want to have. It's something that sets me in, you could say, in motion, because the second element of resonance is I answer it, I connect with it, right? So it can be an idea here, it can be a person you meet, it can be some music you listen to, but it can be you just walk in a landscape, for example, or actually you work on something, right? A lot of people experience it in work. Maybe you even write the text. Resonance is a kind of a movement. Two things are coming together. The thing, or the person, or the landscape, or the music touches you. That's affection. And then you answer it. You do something with it. You know, when you speak on a stage like this, sometimes you really see and feel if there is resonance. You see it in the eyes, right? Most of the time, when you teach in class, for example, students are very tired, right, or disinterested, or maybe they even hate you, right? But sometimes there is a moment of resonance. You see it in the eyes. You see it in the movements of the body. It's answering, right? So this is resonance. Something speaks to me, and I'm capable to reach out, and that's the moment when you feel alive. That's the opposite of the experience of burnout. In burnout, the world is deaf out there, and you feel dead inside. And resonance is when you feel connected in this sense. Something speaks to me, and I can answer it. And if this happens, then you don't stay the same. It's the moment where we are transformed, really. It's the moment where we start to feel alive. And it's important for me. it's different from tail number 1. It's not I control something, I have something, I make it available, I make it disposable, right? By turning the world into, we want to make the world disposable, I said in the first place, available, attainable, accessible, and thereby actually we turn the world disposable in the bad sense, right? Because disposable are the things we throw away. So when you are in resonance with something, this other thing will never be a disposable, right? It's something which is valuable. And it's something which we cannot control, right? It's impossible to fabricate resonance, right? To bring it about instrumentally, but we can control, we can work on, and this is what we want to do, what we need to do as humanity. Work on the conditions that enable resonance. And this is, when resonance happens, then something new is born. Hannah Arendt calls this natality, the birth of the new. It's in the in-between. It's not someone has it, right? And the others take it, right? It's in interaction. And that's circulating social energy, and it can come from a congress like this. All of a sudden, there is a new idea, a new vision, which slowly takes shape, right? And this is so important. And my last point here is, because the question is, what's the humanity we want to be? And my claim is, we can create a world where we are in resonance with along 4 axes, right? Number 1 is resonance between human beings in politics, but also in education, in the care industries, in all forms of interaction. We resonate with each other. At least when we encounter each other, we have this sense we could get in resonance with the other. But we are physical, embodied beings still, right? So we also need to be in resonance with the material surroundings, with the objects we work on, right? With the things we live in and by. So there is a material axis of resonance. Resonate with the world, with the house you live in, with the tools you work with. And then we need a self-axis of resonance. I should not want to control my body, to dominate it, right? That it simply obeys me. But be in resonance with the body, even with the pain. Be in resonance with your soul or with your psyche. And finally, developing a sense of being together in this world, humanity, right? A vision of where we want to go, even in connection with the universe, with the totality of life. This is what religion can do, having a sense of being connected with life itself or with the universe. In the Atacama Desert, right? A lot of people have this experience, right? It's connection with the essence of life or of the universe. You can experience it in nature, through religion, or through art, or even with a sense of history. But this is the world, this is the vision I wanted to point out to you, right? In tail number 2, let us create a humanity. It's not harmony. Resonance can sometimes be struggles, right? But it's listening and answering instead of controlling and dominating. So I think that's the vision I would like to talk with you about. Let's go towards this kind of resonant future and humanity, and then we will overcome individual and collective burnout. Thanks a lot for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.